This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Ade Oladipo here in Birmingham. Ade, successful night coming to a conclusion there with a stunning first round stoppage victory from Galal Yafai. What did you make of his short and sweet time in the ring there?
Short and sweet, right? Aggressive, on the front foot. Look, he knows the level he's at, and he knows the level, and no disrespect, but he knows the level that Tommy Frank's at as well. And he's like, right, let me just quickly show you guys the difference between an Olympic gold medalist, amateur standout, and Tommy Frank, who's a solid pro, but just that, a solid pro. And, you know, the matchmakers maybe went one step too far. Like, okay, look, we don't know where Galal is. Let's, take a step back. Maybe you go to the British champion, Jay Harris. Maybe you don't go all the way down to Tommy Frank, but you don't know unless you put these fights in. And I think Galal showed Eddie and the rest of us that he's way above this level, and maybe he is ready to go. I'm not going to, say what Tony said and say, chuck him in with Rung Versailles and Quadras and all those guys, but there must be just below that where you can see where he is.
Just kind of moving away from him, move to the fight beneath that. Conor Walker with a stunning upset victory against Pattinson. Going into this fight, everyone said that he was game, he was tough, and he was a pick-em. And he certainly ended up on the right side of the result there. Yeah,
it was a pick-em. And look, I think a lot of people maybe have Pattinson, and I can understand why. He's the hot prospect. But if you were ringside like I was against Chris Jenkins, Pattinson just gets stuck in when he doesn't need to. And he's got this style of a fighter that's a puncher, but he's not really a puncher. So it looks good because obviously physically he looks amazing, doesn't he? But if you're Conor Walker, you probably, took those licks and for 1 second, he doesn't hit as hard as I think he does. Let me start landing mine. And you can see Conor Walker just almost sort of grow in confidence. Look, it was still competitive all the way through, but Conor Walker looked like the bigger puncher in there. He's obviously the more experienced. And I think he showed that Cyrus maybe isn't ready for the jumps that Matchroom are putting on him yet. And I get why they're doing it, right? He's 29. You almost have to see where he is, but I don't know, man, with Cyrus. I'm a massive Cyrus Pattinson fan, but that style of fighting, I haven't watched boxing for as long as I've watched it, it doesn't lead to longevity in the sport. So now, after that, he's going to have to take the whole year off. You're going to have to recover from that. And well done to his corner for throwing the towel in. I wasn't quite sure about the instructions. I was trying to listen to the instructions, and it seemed like chaos in that corner. But I feel like if we dig out on Cyrus Pattinson's performance, we maybe don't give the credit to Conor Walker. What a performance. What a performance. I mean, this guy's been on the end of close results before, and here we got a lifeline in a performance that puts him back in the welterweight mix, gives him a couple more big paydays as well. And look, we're going to see that fight again. There's no doubt about it. Look, Eddie wanted to make Cyrus versus Lewis Ritson. You now do Cyrus versus Conor in the Northeast. War.
Just moving away from this card, Ade, always a couple of topics away from it. I want to get your thoughts on, obviously, PEDs in boxing, certainly not a topic we're short of. This week we heard the news of Alycia Baumgardner having a failed test as well. I want to get your thoughts on what you've made of that and just kind of all of the fallout around it. Obviously, Alycia hasn't been shy over social media. Jessica McCaskill's got involved. Just want to get your thoughts on everything around it.
Yeah, I thought, start backwards. I thought McCaskill's comments were risky, crazy, almost like, if you know something, fine, right? But you've got to make sure your source is rock solid because, I mean, there's going to be libels. Obviously, I think Eddie got on the phone to Rick Ramos, her manager, and said, like, what is she saying? It's almost like she was accusing Matchroom of having some involvement in the test because Alicia's got one fight left. I just thought it was wild. It was wild. As for Alycia, look, we wait to see what happens, but if it is a case of she is banged to rights, super disappointing. Just because I'm a massive Alycia fan, because I think of all the female boxers in the last couple of years that have gone from that to that, like Clarissa and Katie were already there, Amanda was there. We didn't know too much about Alycia. And she got the opportunity over here against Terry Harper, changed her life, and she's now become a superstar. I was on the Jake Paul, Nate Diaz card. Obviously, I worked on that. She was in the arena. She worked on it with me, and we were trying to sell her versus Amanda. Undisputed versus undisputed. So she had a 7-figure payday right in front of her. So for this to happen, it's super disappointing. Everyone's turned into doctors and scientists. I don't know what all that means and the drugs, but smarter people do. And I spoke to a few people who do know what it is, and they're like, wow, if that is what she has taken, then she's in big trouble. But look, we wait to see how it plays out. She's been unbelievably vocal on social media, to the point where it makes you kind of like want to read and question everything yourself, because she's adamant. You know, some people go silent. Some people vanish and go silent and let their team deal with it. She's almost like, no, I'm not accepting this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when she speaks out to someone for the first time, because look, no drug cheat gets caught and says, yes, I've done it. But she's almost the complete opposite. She's adamant she hasn't done something wrong. I'll wait to see what she has done. But look, it's a black eye for boxing. It is a black eye. But if she's been cool and she has done something, we should applaud the fact that we're catching people, as opposed to like, oh, it's another black eye for boxing. Every sport has its issues. Every single sport. Boxing's going to be no different. But again, I hope there is a problem and she's in the clear, because I'm a big fan. And it will be sad to see that another big name boxer has failed again. Again, dude. It's horrendous. So hopefully there's some good to come out of it, but I don't think there will be.
Just a final one, Ade. I know you're a big fan and a big advocate of Anthony Joshua. He obviously had his critics against Robert Helenius and how long it took for him to get him out of there. People questioning how he'd perform against Deontay Wilder if that fight goes ahead. I just want to get your reflections on his performance against Helenius and how you rate his chances in a potential barn burner with Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, a solid 6, 7 out of 10. Look, we wanted AJ to go in there and get a knockout. He done that. Obviously, there's loads more in between. You know, do we want AJ to throw his hands a bit more? Yes. Do we want to see him a bit more aggressive? Yes. But when he was aggressive, I think we saw what he can do. Some people will question and say, yeah, it was Helenius though, and I get that. But it was a late change. Dillian Whyte's a completely different style of fighter to Helenius, completely different style. But ultimately, AJ won. How will AJ do against Deontay Wilder? I'm not sure, you know. I don't think it's as foregone conclusion as everyone thinks, oh, Wilder's just going to go in there and knock him out. It doesn't work like that. Wilder's had trouble with people in the past. I'm happy AJ got another fight, camp, with Derek James. Look, you have to make Wilder a favourite, but don't tell me AJ doesn't have a chance. AJ is a big, strong heavyweight who can box. I thought he looked good against Helenius in some parts. His movement was good, his head movement was good. But ultimately, we know, I think Wilder's famously said that these boxers have to be perfect for 12 rounds. I have to be perfect for 1 second. And if that right hand lands, look, we saw it even with Fury. He's got great lateral movement. When the right hand lands, it lands. And you can't get out of the way of it. But AJ has a chance. 70-30 Wilder. But 30 is a good chance. I think a year ago, I think people were saying 100% Wilder knocks him out. The mood has changed a lot. Let's hope it can happen, because Eddie Hearn, who's over there talking to Steve Bunce, by the way, Eddie was talking about the fight maybe not happening now. I've heard something what he said about if the deal can get done. I thought the deal was done. What is this? I don't understand what's going on. I don't want to see AJ in there against... They're talking about AJ potentially having one more. How many times can you have one more? He should have fought Wilder 5 years ago. It's perfect. It's here. It's ready to happen. Can it happen? Eddie Hearn, is AJ fighting Wilder next? Yeah? That sounds 50-50. Okay. 50-50, Eddie? 50-50? Okay, I'll take 70-30. 70-30.
Eddie says 70-30, Joshua Wilder happens next.
Yeah.
But Ade, I appreciate you jumping on to do this interview. I know you're a busy man. It's very late, so thank you for speaking to me.
No problem, always, my man. Always, Andy. Thank you.